So let's continue our journey here. This is such a great, when I saw this, I said, this really gets at the heart of things. It says employees are the best measure of leadership effectiveness. So regarding how productive employees are, how engaged they are, how motivated they are, it has to do with the leader. We all know that the biggest influence on a person at work is that immediate supervisor, is that leadership team. So we really want to internalize that. And I'm so excited that you guys are here because motivation is a huge part of making sure that your leadership team is highly effective. So how productive, how engaged, how motivated goes directly back to the leadership. All right, now I promised you in the information that we sent you earlier about this webinar that there'll be some questions that I'll pose to you. Here's some questions. We're going to go through 3 questions. What can I ask myself so I know that I'm setting things up for really good motivation for others? So here's the first question for you. Number 1, as a leader, what is at the center of my attention? What's at the center of my attention? Now, in order to answer that, let's go back to our equation. And I've reformatted it here a little bit. But when we look at this, we look at people times and then processes and productivity equals leadership. Now, which one of these is at the center of our attention? The productivity, the processes, the numbers, the tasks, all those things get our attention. But what we're asking here is what's at the center, what's at the heart of it. And when you stop to think about that and you let's lay this out into an example. Let's say that your staff member Doug is his name. Let's say that he comes to you, says, hey, customer Bob's got a problem. So you stop right there. You go, well, now I have 2 options at this point. I can either tell Doug what to do to take care of customer Bob, or I can ask him his thoughts, his opinions on next step. What do you think we should do? What do you think customer Bob would want? And I can engage him in things. And that's getting customer Bob taken care of through developing Doug. Now, what I just talked about was just simply using a coach approach. And many of you have had exposure to coaching. It's where you are asking people and you're engaging people and you're getting their opinions and you're getting their thoughts on things. That's when you're creating thinkers. That's when you're creating thinkers. Now, stop and think about what that does to motivation. So we've got this staff member, Doug, and he's come to you. And when you ask him, so what do you think would work best for customer Bob? Customer Bob. Think about how that motivates him. Think about how that engages him and to helping to really service customer Bob rather than just telling him what to do. Now, here's the tricky part about leadership is that based on a lot of different variables, maybe sometimes you do have to tell Doug what to do. Maybe he's new to the organization. This is new territory for him. Maybe you know that time is of the essence because something else is coming up. And so you do have to use more of a tell approach. In that instance, you might want to use more of a messaging type telling approach where you could say something such as, do you think customer Bob would appreciate this or that? So when you stop and think about how do I have people in the center of my attention whenever anything comes up? How can I actually engage them and motivate them? So when you ask them their opinions, when you ask them their thoughts about things, when you ask them about their experience with things, that's when you've got them engaged and it helps to motivate them. So that's one thing. Now let's continue our journey. With people at the center of things, you have to stop and think about how is it when I ask them questions, how might they receive that? Because some people are game on, yeah, ask me my opinion. Other people are like, oh no, I'm shy, I'm more of an introvert. And that's fine. Everyone is wired differently. So jump into the chat box if you would, please, because